Welcome back again to the TÜV SÜD Inside booth at the World Hydrogen Congress in Rotterdam. I'm now with Wilfried from Bosch. I'm really happy to have you here and talk with you about the fuel cell program of Bosch.
Yeah, I'm also happy to be here. Thank you.
So to start with, perhaps, can you explain a bit what you do at Bosch and what Bosch is doing, especially in the area of fuel cells?
Yeah, at Bosch, we are investing a lot in the development of different, let me say, hydrogen applications. On the one hand side, we are going for mobile application for commercial vehicles. On the other hand side, we are now also I'm especially working on stationary applications of solid oxide fuel cell, high temperature fuel cells for decentralized power and heat supply. And we're also adding to this both aspects now the PEM electrolysis approaches, where we want to enter also in business at the very front end of the hydrogen value chain.
Okay, that's already a lot of information.
Yeah.
Perhaps start with the fuel cell. Can you explain a bit more about the size of the project? But
Yeah.
you chose Germany as a production site as well.
So on the one hand side, we are already in other areas of the world working with partners on fuel cell application for commercial vehicles. China is making a lot of progress, so we are an international company. We are also doing a business in China, that's for sure. But we also see that in Europe there are programs and and a market which is under development, but not so clear in the development. But anyhow, we decided to ramp up the programs in Europe because we have the development, we have the testing facilities there. We also are using our competencies out of the ICE business, the combustion business, transferring people into the new hydrogen world and developing, a colleague of mine is doing this, developing solutions which are then the platform to be applied in different areas of the world. Yeah? We are taking requirements from all over the world, combining this, working with local application teams jointly together, but this is now the approach how we're doing it.
But it's interesting. But you mentioned those, stationary fuel cells for commercial vehicles
Yeah.
on the one side, like heavy duty applications, but also classical vehicles for private use. But
In classical vehicles for private use, we see clear advantages, and we also see that not many OEMs are looking for hydrogen applications. They are looking for, or they are applying battery solutions. Battery technology is getting much better, and the hydrogen system, of course, is more complex and costly. But for commercial vehicles, we clearly see when green hydrogen is available that we will have advantages in applying this. We see this from the US, we see this in China, and we also see it in Europe. Perhaps Europe is a little more difficult because it's always a question, where's the green hydrogen, where are the vehicles, where are the end users? Yeah, so we call it the hen and egg problem sometimes. Other countries somehow are going a little more straightforward there.
yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But now then, between fuel cells for commercial vehicles and stationary application, so we're talking about different sizes of the project.
In the commercial vehicle applications, we are talking about PEM fuel cell applications. I would say call it low temperature, 80 to 100 degrees application. In stationary fuel cells, we are going for high temperature ceramic, metal-based ceramic applications, which are really for high efficient power electricity supply and also heat supply in decentralized networks. And we can run those SOFCs on hydrogen in future, on green hydrogen, but we also can run them on natural gas, which is available and which saves a lot of CO2 compared to, especially in Germany, the CO2 mix of the energy, because we substitute coal-produced power then. Yeah. So this is the approach. We call it no-regret technology at the SOFC because it's going for hydrogen, but you can directly use it now for natural gas. And we are applying a lot of prototypes, learning fast, and want to ramp this up.
And do you see this no-regret technology, as you call it, do you see this also reflected by customer demands? So are customer demands
I
more towards the stationary applications or the mobile applications?
The customer group is completely different.
Yeah.
On the one hand side, you have the commercial vehicle OEMs or even the customers of the commercial vehicle OEMs, which want to decarbonize their fleet and which need green hydrogen to apply this. On the other hand side, we are talking about energy infrastructure, energy companies, or companies who want to invest in their own energy production. So it's a complete different customer segment and customer group. And we also divide our approach how to address the one and the other customer group, because you have, I'm coming out of an automotive business, but I learned also to communicate with the energy business, which is completely a different approach and also very interesting to move from the one to the other, let me say, business area.
For me, it's the opposite. I come from the energy business.
Yeah.
Now we have to communicate with OEMs, and
Yeah.
which is not always the same language.
Yeah.
But okay, different customer
Yeah.
segments. That is clear.
Basically, in both areas, the technology is in place, but in some areas, the infrastructure, the permission, the regulation is at least in Europe, not so clear, not so motivating to go for it.
Yeah, and I know it's a difficult question because we always talk about which segment to address first, where is the highest willingness to pay, and so on. So that's why it's interesting also for me to understand, like, do you see an advantage or like one of these two sectors where you see short to midterm a higher potential for the fuel cells?
I mean, both segments, if we want to decarbonize, will grow.
Sure.
Yeah. Of course, you can now discuss. You first need the green hydrogen to apply it, then, and perhaps also some steel decarbonization has a better payoff. But on the mid to long term, we need it in every segment, and it's not a question if this or that. It's a question how we combine this, and it will. Both segments will have, from my perspective and from our view, a huge market potential. But the question is, how long does it take that really the scaling is going? And now I'm coming back again to my favorite stationary fuel cells. We can apply this for natural gas, but you also know last year natural gas was really a critical discussion because of the Ukraine war. Today we see that the customer base is moving towards hydrogen will be there somewhere, but also in Germany there is now a legislation where it says, or at least a strategy where it says, we want to have residual power plants which are hydrogen ready, running on natural gas. Yeah. Because when we increase the renewables, we also have to do something when the wind is not blowing and the sun is not shining. And this is something where we say, we perhaps are only small power classes, but you can apply this, and that's something which is good for us.
Definitely important topic, because to be able to use it during the transition from natural gas towards hydrogen with different blending rates. And this is,
and we can do this very flexible because, as I mentioned, the technology can be adapted easily.
That is great.
And on the other hand side, we see a tremendous increase of electricity demand. If in other sectors you also move from fossil fuels towards renewables or towards electric application, looking at heat pumps applications, looking at electrical vehicles. I made a calculation for my private situation. I would triple to quadruple my electricity consumption if I move to e-mobility and move to heat pumps. Yeah. So you have to imagine if everybody is doing so, we will get in huge trouble.
Yeah, we have to build a lot of transmission lines.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, or you build the transformation of hydrogen or natural gas at the point where you want to use it.
Okay, so then I have one last question, perhaps, because Bosch is also a global company selling your products. You mentioned China, selling your products globally. So an interesting topic for me is always, where does the demand come from at the moment, especially for fuel cells, stationary or mobile?
At the moment, what we see is that that depending on the regulations which are in place in different areas, we see that China is progressing. There we are having several hundred commercial vehicles on the road. Europe is a little slower. US, we also see that, especially with the IRR, now everybody is looking at clean energies. Also, some companies already are progressing. And for the stationary fuel cell applications, we clearly see that in certain areas where at the moment you could not imagine that power is not available or sufficient power is not available, markets are rising. So we have application discussions where if you want to raise a data center in a city, you have to bring your own electricity, because basically in cities the electricity grids are already borderline. So if you want to make an additional business in the data center area, you cannot do this because to a certain extent you don't get the energy, and then you are thinking about efficient energy supply. How can we use heat also, or heat as a benefit? This is not a specific regional here or there. This is I would say to a certain extent also a global trend. Question is how big the markets then also switch to this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and this is something, with what we are doing, we are quite innovative. And what I also learned is that the energy, let me say, how would I call it? The energy ecosystem, yeah, is sometimes not the most innovative one. Reliability counts, yeah, security counts, grid connections count, and we have to take care that we don't cause some blackouts, but completely new ideas which are small and might also scale, which are interconnected, which are, like virtual power plants. It helps that the renewables are already in place, because then you have already a lot of grid connections. But to put this into action, we also have to optimize the permission processes and bring the skills also in the area how to apply this in a larger scale.
Definitely, no doubt about this.
Yeah.
I think this is
Yeah.
perhaps also a good final sentence.
Yeah.
That there's still a lot of things to do,
Yeah.
but technology-wise, we're in a good way. And
Yeah.
also thanks to companies like Bosch.
Yeah, we have to make sure that we also are able to scale technology and to make it really an asset for Europe and for the industry and for the people who need energy in the future, and safe and reliable energy. Yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Wilfried, for your time and having the possibility to discuss this important topic.
Thank you